2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1 onwards. Paul, by the humility and gentleness of Christ, I appeal to you. I, Paul, who am timid when face to face with you, but bold towards you when away. I beg you that when I come, I may not have to be as bold as I expect to be towards some people who think we live by the standards of this world. So Paul has a problem with being thrown accusations by some of the folks in the Corinthian church that Paul is bold in writing letters to them, but when it comes in person, he's timid. And they accuse us of Paul that live by the standards of this world. And Paul responded, what do you mean by living by the standard of this world? This is all in the mind. This is accusation, propaganda, wrong teachings, wrong things. So Paul, verse 3 said, though we live in this world, we do not wage war as the world does. So let's do the ESV, okay? Verse 2 is stronger. Verse 2 ESV says, I beg of you that when I'm present, I may not have to show boldness with such confidence as I come. It's that account of showing against some who suspect us walking according to the flesh. According to the flesh. Flesh means a worldly standard that is godless. So some guys are accusing Paul being godless in the living, in the lifestyle. So Paul rises up and responds. So to Paul, okay, so verse 3 is the key. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not wage war according to the flesh. There again, immediately, there is a spiritual warfare that Paul is talking about. From accusations, Paul directly bring it to warfare. So guys, I got the sense that the world today, the Christian world today, the evangelical world today, we don't want to talk about warfare. All we want to talk about is self-depravity with fallenness, the sinful me. Everything is me. The problem is my fault. I think it's imbalanced. So Paul is talking about spiritual war. Now, spiritual war is making use of our fallenness nature. Granted, of course, our depravity. But our depravity cannot be activated just like that. It's something that triggers it. And that is where the warfare is. Paul knows that. Okay? So he said, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not wage war according to the flesh. This is a very deep sentence. Okay, verse 3. We do not wage war as the world does. Live in the world. That's NIV. I don't quite like that. It has actually the flesh will be better. Okay, so we don't wage war according to the flesh. Now the flesh has two meanings. One is the fallen nature of us. The other one is just simply humans. Okay, so in here, Paul is talking about it's not human. We are waging war, not a human war, guys. So don't diminish the spiritual war and call it as an unlucky day. Call it as a human depravity and human sinfulness that causes it. Or rather, it is spiritual warfare. Paul said though we live in the flesh, he said, though we walk in the flesh, we're not waging war according to the flesh. Most people don't even call this a war. People just call it, say, I made a bad decision that day, Or, yeah, I have not exercised enough discipline. Or, yeah, I will have to do self-retrospection, inspection. Oh, yeah, and I have not prayed enough. All these are valid and legit in its own, but not complete. The overarching picture that Paul chooses to bring out is a war. Okay, so we are not waging war according to the flesh. So Paul is calling that the accusation thrown at him is a spiritual warfare. Got that? Not just the charismatic Pentecostals guys say that. I used to say that quite a bit. I said it far less now because I'm become more reformed, but realize that we need to hit the balance. And Paul got it, and I'm following Paul. Amen.